Hi, I'm Schizophrenic. Okay, so basically this video is basically just going to be me talking about my schizophrenia. Basically just a snippet of how I got it and things of that nature. So I started college late. I didn't go straight after high school. I started in like 2018. 2018, I remember taking my intro to psych course, and the teacher being like, okay, we're gonna take a stress test. We're gonna try and gauge for how stressed you are. So I asked you a couple questions about what you've been doing the last couple years, months of your life. So I filled it out. So I remember going about 200 points over super stressed. I remember telling my professor, what my score was, and me having like the highest score in the whole class. She was like, anybody got 400 or above 400. I raised my hand. Only person raised my hand. She goes, I tell him, what's your score? I tell her my score. She goes, are you okay? I kid you not. I believe those were her words, word for word. Are you okay? I said, whatever. She was like, no, I'm so serious with you right now because I'm surprised you're not hospitalized right now. Sure enough, 2019, I'm in the mental hospital for the first time ever, stressed out of my mind. So, one of the main causes of schizophrenia is stress, and I had a lot of it apparently. And in 2018, I got this warning from my psych teacher that I was super stressed and on the verge of being in the hospital, and I did nothing. So I'm getting a little emotional, but whatever. But I just remember her saying that to me. And 2019, I was in the hospital. Stress can be good things. You can be stressed by good things, and you can be stressed by bad things. So stress works like you got a promotion. Yay! That means a raise, more money. But it does mean more responsibilities and things of that nature. Even if you just started a new job that didn't require as many, activities or as many requirements as a promotion. You basically, doing new tasks and starting a new routine and things like that. That's stressful because you have to readjust your body and just readjust to doing new things. So even good things like getting a dog or some, that causes stress to your life. So it's not just losing a job, it's getting a job. So I was working like 3 jobs. I kid you not. I had like 3 jobs. I had a job during the morning, then a job during the afternoon, and then a third job that was like event based. Like whenever there's an event and I had the time to do it, I would go. Like I was working 3 jobs, maybe even more. Like I was applying to job after job, trying to be on my grind, get my money. I was in a shelter. I was in a toxic relationship. I was taking care of my grandmother, who herself had bipolar, and I didn't even know that until after all of this went down. Anyways, so being an elderly person with Parkinson's and dementia, that's bad on its own. But to have a dementia or Parkinson's patients with bipolar, with mental disorder on top of that, I lost my goddamn mind. I was doing entirely too much. And then on top of that, my daily stressors. I have a sibling that is autistic, nonverbal, severe autistic. I'm not the parent, and I know my parents are way more stressed than I am, and they trying to and not even have me do a lot. But once it's time for them to work and they need help, I'm up 6 o'clock in the morning putting him on the bus here and there, or watching him while they do things. I'm right there ready to bat when they can't do it. I have a lot going on in my life all the time. So I was stressed beyond belief. I was just beyond belief. I'm crying, tearing up just a little bit, just thinking about all this stuff. And I was in college, and I was in school. So I was stressed as fuck. Okay, I ended up in the hospital a year after, you know, being told by my psych professor, by a professional, you need help. And I never got it. I was just like, no, I can do this, like, I'm strong, like, this is day to day, like, this isn't a lot. Wrong. When I first got schizophrenia, I thought, you know, I'm in my apartment, the walls are thin, you know, I'm just hearing my neighbors talk. But the more and more I tried to listen to what I was hearing, or the more and more I paid attention to what I was hearing, I was like, oh, no, it sounds like they're talking about me, you know? But I was like, no, like, you know, it was too low for me to even make out what was being said. So I just brushed it off. I was like, no, you know, the walls are thin, I hear my neighbors talking, conversation, whatever. Then it just progressed, and it happened outside of the home and other places, and I just felt like, okay, I feel like people are talking about me, like, what's going on? It just progressed, and until eventually it just got loud enough for me to hear, and then I was in a full-blown schizophrenic episode. I was just hearing like a whole bunch of randomness. It's like, it makes no sense when at least for me, like, it made no sense when it came to me. It was just like random sentences, and it would be like, oh, she's this, she's that, or it could even be going she, and then it would fade out the rest of the sentence just to keep you on edge and be like, oh, she's what's being said about me. Actually, I reached a point where I was like, okay, I need help. Like, this is not normal. This is not thin walls. This is beyond thin walls. This is me losing my goddamn mind. So eventually, my parents, I let my parents, I let my mother know, because it happened in front of her a little bit. It was really bad when I was on a date with her. We were just hanging out. We went out to eat. Her, my boyfriend at the time, and one of my mother's friends. We all went out to eat, and it was like really bad. And the thing about schizophrenia, hallucinations, is it coincides with it can coincide with what you are doing, like with your day-to-day. So basically, I was like, I'm a sci-fi fan. My favorite shows are Stranger Things, The Magicians, you know, stuff like that, stuff that like powers and all that. So part of me, I don't want to say I was delusional, but I want to say part of me was like being a super geek and like being like, dang, like, do I have powers? Can I read minds? And I'm thinking this because my hallucinations, my auditory hallucinations, were starting to go hand in hand with the interactions I was having with people. So it would be like comments about what the person just said, and I would think, am I like reading her mind? Is this like commentary from her? Like, I really had a moment. I didn't truly believe it, but just in the midst of all this new things coming to me, and me, like, in the midst of me losing my mind, I was like, is this like I didn't want to be like, yeah, I'm crazy now, it's schizophrenia, I'm crazy, like, I was trying to make sense of it. I was trying to make light of it and feel better. So it's like, part of me was being sarcastic and be like, you know, yeah, maybe this is like magic and shit, like maybe there is a real secret society of magicians that exist and we don't know. And I'm like, you know, being a super sci-fi geek, and I was recently watching all these shows. Like, those shows were just out around the same time it happened too. So I was in the midst of watching the seasons and stuff. So part of me was just like trying to cope. I was really trying to cope. More than me being delusional, I was trying to cope. But your hallucinations and what you hear will coincide with your day-to-day. Like, they'll make commentary on what you're doing. That's kind of how mine works, at least. I'm pretty sure other people as well. But yeah, I'm rambling. I straight up almost asked her, am I reading your fucking thoughts? Because I just wanted it to go away. I wanted it to make sense. I just was like, and then of course I know I'm about to look crazy as hell, and I just couldn't take it, because it's like the hallucinations come in like constantly. Like, it's like if you're imagining somebody on the side of me just talking in my ear all damn day, like that's what it feels like. It feels like you're just constantly being harassed all fucking day with like nonsense, and like sometimes it'll and then it comes in waves. So anyways, after a while it's just like, okay, like, you just want to let it out, talk about it or whatever, just address it and see if that'll help, make him go away. But of course you just end up looking crazy, especially with the type of topics that the auditory hallucinations are choosing. So it's like, I know how I looked. And then after a while, after that date, my mom got concerned. She saw for herself that I was hearing things and stuff like that. So fast forward, when she saw for herself, she was advising me to go to the doctor. I signed up for outpatient care. Outpatient care is, you don't go inside of the hospital. You can be outside of the hospital, just go to your visits and like regular doctor visits and be okay. Eventually it just got worse and worse and worse day after day, to the point where I had to be hospitalized. I think we should do a story time to go in depth about this, but more in depth about everything that I went through when I first caught it. But I'll do a separate video. But anyways, I eventually got hospitalized. I ended up being in there for like a month, close to a month, and that's when I got my first diagnosis, severe depression with psychotic features. It progressed, because at first I wasn't seeing anything. I was just hearing things. I just had auditory hallucinations. Then it turned into visual hallucinations as well. Once you have auditory hallucinations for over 6 months, along with other criteria, you become diagnosed as a schizophrenic. So I eventually got the diagnosis of schizophrenia. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to make a video talking about, the basics of what I go through, and just letting you guys know I lost my goddamn mind, and just to talk about stress. And if you're doing all of these new things, regardless if they come off as good or not, you need to be seeing somebody about everything you go through on a day-to-day basis. If you're in a toxic relationship, don't stay, don't try and fix it. You can lose your mind trying to do so. Don't try and be the hero and take on too much, because you will lose your goddamn mind. You will. Don't just think, I'm a strong person, I can do this. I really did have that mentality, and I thought, this is normal, I'm fine, I'm taking on anything that the next person's taking on. No, I wasn't. I should have known when I was the only person raising my hand in class that day for having a score that fucking, 200 points over being maximized, being stressed to the max, or whatever way it was written, I don't know. But this is like, I'm literally telling you a true story. Like, that literally happened to me. So I regret not getting a therapist that day. It was just a lot. I was going through a lot. I'm still going through a lot. And this channel is going to be my place where I vlog and talk about it and just let out all of my feelings. So follow me, subscribe, and get to know me. Get to know about schizophrenia, or I don't know, just follow, subscribe, like, whatever, comment, I don't know. Bye.